Well, good morning and welcome to a great new series. Wonderful new year. We're in the spring, time of transformation. We have a lot of interesting things going on in society. We have a lot of interesting technological things going on. And AI is beginning to transform every aspect. And we have to even bring that into our job search. Let me just adjust my camera a little bit. Have to bring that into our job search. So this week's series, this is every day this week at 12 noon Eastern. We're going to present you all the different aspects of job search, but we're going to begin to layer in different advantages and things you can do using AI to even enhance the effectiveness from here. So let me share my screen. Oh, there we are. Welcome. Always love to have all you folks here. And if you're watching me on replay, this is live streaming on my Facebook, on my YouTube channel, on my LinkedIn, wherever you're watching there, you can always share and rewatch it with your friends there. But make sure to take a look at my self-recruiter website. That's selfrecruiter.com. And under the advice tab, there's all sorts of videos beyond just the ones you'll easily find here. And let's get you back to work. Now, as we get moving today and start to think about what we have to do, it's really about taking control of the discussion. Today's lecture is really about how to, in the less sexy way possible, it's about how to organize and manage your job search. And a better way to say it, supercharging your job search and career. But now we're going to factor in the concept of when to use AI. Now, I'm a big fan of using anything that makes things better. I'm not a big fan of using things that will help us misrepresent, because that's not what it's about. But there's a great many things that we can do. And even in structuring the job search, my gosh, this is a tremendous resource we have to be using. If you have not seen me before, John Crant, author, career coach, and speaker, resume and LinkedIn guru as well. So if you are suffering like most are with a very poor storytelling of your career across your resume, across your LinkedIn profile, that's something you really need an expert that's been doing it for many, many years, that can look into your story and recreate it in a way that's still absolutely letter true, but really dazzles and lifts your value substantially. If you need some help working together, just check out my self-recruiter website and I can help you from there. We can schedule a time. A couple of the resources, my book's a great resources. You can check on Amazon, check out my self-recruiter website, kind of as a guidebook to every step of your process. Over on my LinkedIn itself, you can click on several of the articles that you can get to that will really help do a lot of different things in your job search for each one of those obstacles you run into and really get stuck by. Now, what's really involved in a job search? Well, a lot of different ways I could get a job. I could see that job posting. I don't have to read all of these for you, but all of these different things that are running down here, these are all different ways to split those hairs and think about, how do I get or find that right thing? The question is really, where do you invest your time? How do you decide how much of the time goes here and how much of the time maybe goes into another resource? And that's where we get left in a very unhappy place that, gosh, this isn't exactly what I expected. I might have expected something a little bit different. Now, I'm going to give you a lot of advice, a lot of direction, a lot of things to think about. And still, my main advice to you is don't let someone else think for yourself. Interesting story I'll tell you later in the week about that one. Here's your guiding principle as you're managing your job search. Is this the most effective use of my time at this moment? That will keep you from doing the easy stuff and doing the stuff that will get you to an interview faster, get you to a second interview faster, get you to an offer faster, rather than simply picking that low-hanging fruit that we sometimes like to go after. Real job search requires a lot more than just sitting back. A lot of the tragedy I see in job search is people sitting on the internet looking for job postings. Absolute tragedy, in my view. 50% of your time is wasted because about 50% of all job postings you see are not real in the first place. They're not ready to interview now if they identify the right candidate. They're not ready to set a start date if they find the right candidate. They're not ready to extend an offer if they find the right candidate. Without that, those are fishing expeditions. So literally wasting half your time if your plan is to just look for job postings. This is a different approach. You see how it's broken down here into major categories that we have to think about, and we have to review these goals at the end of every day and at the end of every week. This is how we get that engine that's a little bit rusty starting to turn again, starting to produce interviews for us, starting to produce second interviews for us. At least, please, a response. Let's talk about the response just as we're getting into the details here. Not a fan of applying online. There it is. Clear as day, I said it right there. Not a fan of applying online. When you apply online, where does it go in almost every case? It goes to the HR department. Now, if you would like to work for the HR department, it is going to the right place for you. If you would like to work for another department, my view, and everything in this video and everything I teach you is my opinion, is it's going to the wrong people. It's not going to the decision makers. It's going to the people that do not have enough information to evaluate you, whose mission in life is to rule you out. Why would I go that direction? That's why I don't hear anything back. I don't know this. I don't know this. They're looking for some unicorn they can identify without really having the right background to evaluate that. This is what I think job search really is. We choose the organizations or companies we want to go after. 30 of them is the right number. We select 25 to 30 individuals. We use LinkedIn for this. I'll teach you all about how to do this on LinkedIn. Very, very easy. I'll even take you through it today. Open those profiles. Triggers a marketing event. More about that later in the week. Ask them to connect. Triggers another marketing event. Email 3, 4, 5 decision makers. Regardless of what anybody else says, those 3, 4, 5 decision makers are part of the 25 to 30. Who do I think would be involved in the conversation to hire a person like myself? Oh, I think these 3 or 4 or 5. You could settle on 3, but if you go to 5, every single company I go after, your odds on return get better. You email those decision makers as if they're the only person in the world. Dear Jack, dear Jim, dear Jill. We'll go over the script as it's coming up. Book a meeting. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here jiggling my cup in my hand with a little coin in it to draw attention, or my hat. I need a hat out in the sun. I'll burn. I'm here to inspire them, to excite them about what I bring to the table, and to really make sure that they see that, wow, this person's interesting and driven and special, and gosh, seems to know all about us because it's a date. Job search and interviewing is also a dating process. Lots more about that as the week goes on, especially in the interview section, but all of them will touch on it. Repeat, 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 repeat. I can't just do this with one company. I have to do this with multiple companies all the time, over and over and over, because job search is a sales process. I can't just go after the one job. Oh, it was just that easy. Everyone's hitting that darn button, which you're hitting. It doesn't usually say apply. It usually says submit, all capital letters, until we're so submissive. It's like a Friday night waiting for that phone call. Left back in this very unhappy place. You have to learn to become a self-recruiter. That's a problem solver. That's someone that looks at everything differently. There's a solution to everything, including my job search, which is a sales process. That means I have to create a job search plan. I mean, I can't just sit on the internet and think it's going to happen for me. It means I really drill down. I go in and I select those organizations and companies. We're going to break all of these out, by the way, devise those steps needed, uncover the decision makers, overcome their objections, because that's their job. Get a meeting and dazzle them, have them give me something. Let's go back to the beginning here. 30 companies, huh? 30? Wow. How can I come up with 30? Very easily. First off, why don't you just come up with 10? 10 companies you are dying to work for, dying to work for. By the way, you can't be dying to work there because you saw an open job. That's not about the company. This is a dating process. This is like finding that magical other half that inspires you. Where is the individual here that will help you, excite you, get you moving? Sorry, I'm getting LinkedIn notifications at the same time. Just want to make sure everybody can actually hear me. So don't forget, you can also comment in. If you are on LinkedIn watching this, you can live comment in and I will see that and can respond back. Other platforms, I can only monitor one at a time and still give this talk. So 30 companies. Well, the 10, if I start that I really love, I could then simply take those 10 names. I could take them over to couple different tools. I could take it to hoovers.com. I could take it to Yahoo Finance. I could just run those profiles of those companies on a free service and go, what's down in the detail? Well, you know what's down in the detail? There are 3 top competitors. Oh, now those 10 companies have become 40 companies. Cross out a few duplicates, throw away a few you don't like. You got 30 companies statistically perfect to hire you, and that's a game changer. Approach the right companies in the first place. This is about filling a sales funnel. I am sure we've all seen a sales funnel by now. If not, this will be eye-opening for you. The more that goes in at the top, the more one precious drop or two of perfume or gold or whatever it might be comes out of the bottom as you move toward what you'd like, which in this case is an offer. That means, let's go back to a very old concept, this concept of filling up our dance card. I have to go to a dance, I have to fill up my dance card, get another stamp on my dance card. Yeah, they used to do these things. Not in my time, before my time even. But that's what we have to do in job search. How is it I can fill up my dance card so that all this activity, well, if I'm going to get the right amount of things happening, that means I have to approach 10 companies or organizations at the same time. The only way I'll get enough volume that this is really going to work, and that produces 1 interview per week. By the way, that's not an easy goal. That's a brand new interview, not a second or third, a brand new first interview every single week. That's your goal. That's how you get to a point where you really get possibility and maybe I could have my own choice in job search by getting multiple offers. You're going to connect with people. You're going to warm them up. This is the 25 to 30 people that you're going to pick up and down and left and right on that food chain, people that would naturally surround that job. I'm going to ask them to connect, trigger multiple marketing events, little taps on the shoulders. Oh, who's looking at you? Who's looking at you? Oh, invite to connect. All different little figurative marketing. What I'm going to say in my message to connect is really clear. You don't know me. I'm professionally appropriate. Here's a little stroke to your ego. That's actually pretty simple. I'd like to connect with other professionals in our niche or niche, depending how we like to say that. And of course, I'd love to add you to my professional network. That's just the basic connect that I'm interested in you. I care about you. This has caught my attention. By the way, this is sales technique. The answer is irrelevant. I'm not waiting for any answer. You're not waiting for any answer. Now you simply open these things, send these invites out, move right on to the next step. Pick those 3, 4, 5 people that you've already opened, you've already asked to connect, didn't wait for the answer. And now those people, I'm going to email them directly. And I also have to capture that information because I'm discovering so much knowledge about these organizations, these companies. And these players that I'm interviewing with are all going to move around to different companies, all within my sector. So I need to be capturing that information now. By the way, those forms you can download right from my website under the advice tab. It's called the Job Search Management System. It's all free. So job search is this sales process. To recap what I just told you, it's all right here. I'm not going to read it again. We have to think about how we dynamically change this and change this perception. How can we change whatever's been holding us back, whatever's been keeping us from landing that opportunity? And we have to change it with the frame of thinking about the decision maker. What's their thought process? What are their challenges? What are they looking to solve? Not simply me, but if I was them, what would it all be about? And that comes down to who makes these decisions. Well, let's remember, it's not simply the decider. Yes, decider is one of them, but it's really about the collective brain trust around the decider that influences this person. That person could get me a yes or no. Think about how your departments tend to be structured. Think about how you're going to get to the boss or the boss's boss's boss or anywhere that you'd like to get. And almost every department, as you can see, is structured more or less the same. Yeah, titles may change a little bit, but not very much. A little bit, not very much. Basic concept right here. I can get to anybody. I can reverse search LinkedIn. I can rebuild and capture this knowledge. So my job search gets easier and easier. My follow-up gets easier. Other ways to get to the decision makers besides what I'll show you on LinkedIn. I could be reading my trade journals or different things that are out there and blogs for my industry, everything else. There's name mentions and quotes and press releases and people's names attached to that. There's all sorts of things that I could do from a research standpoint. I could get referrals to people. Everyone I'm talking to is like, Jack, Jim, Jill, who's the best blah, blah, blah you've ever worked with? Oh, suddenly I got a name because I popped an image in their head and I asked them who it was. And they told me because I built enough trust and rapport. That's the referral process. Most of it, though, is going to be using LinkedIn and our understanding of the typical org chart. So we're going to do this reverse search, and we're going to do this today. I'm also going to show it to you in the LinkedIn lecture, so you don't have to really remember it all. But there's this unified search box, top of any page. I'm going to search this box reversing the company. So in this example, I'm looking at Informatica, big database middleware company. So I reverse search Informatica. It starts to give me this drop-down menu. Oh, don't click on the drop-down menu. That's a trip down the rabbit hole. Don't do it. Simply type what you'd like, hit enter, and what you get is this nice secondary sorting process that shows up. Fantastic. Now, I'm really looking to reverse search Informatica, but as long as I'm here, this is another way to come up with companies that might be perfect to hire you. What other companies come up under Informatica? If I go in, oh, there it is. They hit it over on the dropdown. If I go over there, what do I get? 34,000 companies. Well, after I get past this laundry list of Informatica, how about the rest of these? Used to be my field as a recruiter. I can tell you, they're all system integrators. They either install or resell Informatica software. If you are statistically right to work for Informatica, you're very likely statistically right for a great number of these companies. Another alternate method of putting in your former employers to find out who else would like to buy that skill set. Very, very interesting. But I'm really looking for people. So I go back under, no, show me the people. 2.6 million people. That I'll be dead and in the ground before that happens. So location, I don't need them all over the world. I need them in the US. And you know what? Besides that, I need them currently working for Informatica, not like the 3-year-old Informatica people. All of that, what do I get? Oh, 1,615 results, much, much better. Okay, but I can't look at 1,600 people either. I'm going to have to put on the thinking cap. I should remind you, I only use the free version of LinkedIn. All of this you can do in the free version. And even here, I can simply go, I think it's a VP. Problem solving. I think it's a VP that's going to hire me. I put in simple VP, really US, really Informatica, and what do I get? 75 VPs, a lot of chiefs. Maybe it's a director. Director, really US, really Informatica. What do I get from this? 228 results, wrong direction. Oh, I have it because it's problem solving. It's a sales director I'm looking for. And as long as I'm looking, I should narrow it down right to New York City, even on the free version. And suddenly, what do I get? Oh, there we go. Boom. There's 3 sales directors right in New York City. But I heard what John was saying about that getting to 5. If I can get to the 5, I get an even better result. So, let me think about this. What if I went in, maybe there's a sales VP really in the New York City area. What do I get? 2 more. There we are. Now I'm up to 5. My odds just got dramatically better. Besides opening and asking to connect, now I step outside of LinkedIn and I email them directly. I bypass sending emails or anything like that. And what I want to do is reach out to these people directly after I connect with them, or at least after I send the invitation to connect. Don't wait for that answer. And capture the information as I go forward. So every step of my job search gets easier simply by getting things moving forward. But then the introduction has to come. Hi, this is John. I'd like you to hire me. Security, not going to go well. Job search is 2 things we don't like. It's a sales process, and it's also a dating process. 2 things that are probably the worst in the world that we don't want to mix. And yet our job is to be persuasive. Our job is to be confident without being arrogant. And I realize I lost one of my lights. So hang on just 1 second. Must have an auto shut off switch. Just turn it right back on. And there we go. A little more natural fill light. So let's take you through the script and what that should sound like. Now, I'm not intending you to write this script now. In fact, let me just go tiny. So the script is the biggest thing that you see here. I'll come back larger after the script, but the writing on the left side here will remind you when you write your own script of everything I'm teaching you now. What I want you to learn now is simply the structure. The form itself is part of the job search management system. You can download it free right on my self-recruiter .com website. We're under the advice tab. It's job search management system. All the forms are there. So I'm going to greet them, wait for their response, which nobody wants to do because we're afraid of, how'd you get my number? Take me off your list. Never call me again. Acknowledge their response because we can't pretend we didn't hear whatever they said. Tell them why we're calling. If you went to one of those schools that's so dazzling, like there's just a handful of those schools, you mention that school. Otherwise, I don't care how great that school is, don't mention it. Move on to your professional wares that you're selling. Get to those 2 or 3 dazzling things about you that would make them jump out of their chair, and then close. Close simply means ask them for what you'd like, which is an interview. But don't say that word. That word gets you kicked to HR. Oh, I'd love to meet with you where I could share more. Now, let me let you hear how this sounds, but I'll come back larger for this. Now that you know that structure, it may be as simple as, hey, good morning, Jack. It's John Crant. Just like they should know who that is. Now, you're going to have to practice that, even though it's your own name, because most people swallow their name. They have so little confidence when they say, it's John Crant. I'm sorry, what's that? It's John Crant. I can't quite hear you. John Crant. John Crant with a space in between the words. Yes, it feels weird in the mouth, and you have to practice it, and you have to go, it doesn't matter what people think. They have to hear it and feel it. It's a brand. Hey, good morning, Jack. By first name. I don't care who it is. I don't care if they got the doctor title. I don't care if it's the CEO of the company. Hey, good morning, Jack. It's John Crant. How are you doing this morning? Now, I'm going to get 1 of 3 responses. It might be the good, the bad, or the ugly. It could be, I'm fine, John. How can I help you? Win. I get to move forward. Or it could be a trained dog that answers the phone. I'm fine, John. How can I help you? I'll take it. I'll take it. Set me up. I keep moving just like a ball being teed up in golf. Well, that's baseball, but golf. It could be something I don't like. I'm terrible. Acknowledge the response. I can't pretend I didn't hear that. You can imagine all the good ones. Let's back up and give you the terrible one and show you just how I get through it. Notice that when they say terrible, it has almost 0 effect on John. I certainly don't speed up. I stay very engaged. I get right to the point and I sell. Hey, good morning, Jack. It's John Crant. How are you doing this morning? I'm terrible. Well, Jack, let's see if we can change that. You know, I just had to reach out, introduce myself to you. I'm so excited by what I see going on at XYZ company. You know, I had seen that Wall Street Journal article. Let's pause. When I tell them I'm excited, that's like crossing the room to introduce myself to someone that I'm interested in. I'm like, I just had to come over here and introduce myself to you. Was it my hair? Was it my eyes? What was it? It's like, they want to know. So even when you use this technique as a company, I had to say, what was it? You know, I saw the Wall Street Journal article because I went and looked for it. It's homework on your new such and such release. Oh, those things are always so good to get. Why don't you speak to them like a dear friend, like a human being? That kind of press is very good to get. They work hard to get it. You know, understand also that whatever they are pushing as message, whether it's story or press release or whatever it might be, that's not successful. Oh, I know it sounds successful. Sounds like it's a winner. It's a winner, baby. That's not successful in most cases. They'd like it to be successful. Oh my gosh, if I could add value to that project, that's why I brought this up. And so when I happen to mention the Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 and I go, oh, so interesting to get that. You know, back when I was with XYZ company, all you have to do is dangle a carrot. What kind of carrot could I dangle that could get me a meeting, which is an interview? You know, back when I was with XYZ company, we handled a very similar launch. You know, I'd love to come in and share with you how we tackled all those issues I bet your team's experiencing. In fact, I have an opening right for the jugular. I have an opening on my calendar Tuesday at 10 a.m. Might that work for a brief meeting? Brief. Not 10 minutes of your time. I'm not devaluating myself like that. But a brief meeting, brief. Their only real concern is don't waste my time. So be credible. Mention brief. A brief meeting. Won't even affect your calendar. And then, of course, if I do get that meeting, you know I'm going to keep them as long as possible because your job is to sell. I want you to think about this as you work through your own script and have it work for you, which is incredibly important. We can't just sit and do the same thing, expect a different result. So as you get people in conversation, whether it's this direct outreach or whether you're just sending your resume to them directly, but they call you back, well, when you finally get them on the phone, you worked very hard to have that conversation happen. What are you going to do? What else can you say? What are they thinking? What can you leave them thinking? What are they thinking about your skills? And is there something else you can do? There is always something else you can do no matter what occurs on that call, good, bad, or ugly. Jack, maybe they just hired. Oh, shucks, just missed it. Okay. But what can I do? Gosh, I know with your background and position within the industry, Jack, congratulations, by the way. Fantastic to have a full team. But you must know who's hiring right now. Where would you look? I'd look over at XYZ or ABC or any other thing they rifle off. Why didn't they tell me that earlier? That's not their job. You know whose job that is? That's my job, to elicit that information out of them because they desire to give it to me. That's my job. By the way, there's opportunity here if they just hired. Say, oh, congratulations, Jack. I don't want to congratulate them for hiring someone that I should have got that spot. Oh, always so good to have a team that's filled. By the way, if they don't meet your expectations, oh, you better believe I'm going to sell against the new hire. If they don't meet your expectations, oh, don't hesitate to reach back out. Oh, I remain very excited. But let me ask you, if you had my background, what am I missing? What would you look at as your next step? Yes, I can ask them even structural changes to my path because maybe they have knowledge that they could share that I don't possess, and it could make my life easier. These are all ways to essentially change the equation by picking your resources' brains once you have them on the phone. Nudge, 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 figurative little gentle pushes that coax and draw attention. There you have the basic job search steps to think about, and that's incredibly important. The goal here is to repeat this, and that means you're going to have a system to go back to where we started, to manage these key things that we have to do both daily and weekly. Those forms are all free. It's very easy to download them. You simply go to my selfrecruiter.com website, click on the advice tab, and each of these forms, now I'm just going to take you through two of them, but you can download all these forms. The two I want to take you through are the goals form that will set your job search up to be successful. And also, well, I'll show you in just 1 second here. On the goals, the bottom of the form, these are our weekly goals. Now you have to set your own numbers, but I can give you some good guidance. It's not going to be a crazy amount of companies you contact each week. By the way, these are new companies you've never contacted before. Oh yes, you might have lots you want to recontact. Absolutely, that's great. But you have to have new, fresh blood in your job search all the time. That's what this is. That's about 3 per week. You may think, oh, John, I could do 10. And what about week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, when you have to still follow up on all the people from the first week? It will spiral out of control. It's not possible. About 3 per week in 2 or 3 weeks, you will be operating at maximum capacity if you do everything. Number of emails. These are outbound to managers, not really to HR, unless you're going to go work in HR. Number of calls, those are outbound, absolutely. Of the calls, now, I know a lot of us might not be brave enough to call. You can put 0 there if you're not going to call. That's okay too. But if you are going to call, I want to know which one's in bold are to managers and which ones are to HR, unless you're trying to get hired by HR. But if you're not getting hired into an HR role, HR is not the one that we're really keeping track of. We just want to see, are you avoiding actual direct outreach to real decision makers? Those are the managers. Out of all this number of meaningful conversations, boy, I can really pull the wool over my own eyes there and fool myself. That won't do us any good. It's probably about 6 meaningful conversations per week if you really work hard at it. And that's, I got some piece of information. I got another name. I got an introduction to someone. I learned something about this company that I didn't know before. All of those can make it meaningful, even if they're not hiring. End of the week, you have that reality moment. In my Self-Recruiter book, I talk about, to be successful, it's really about being honest with one person, that's yourself. Okay, so don't inflate your numbers. If you got a goose egg, it's a goose egg. Track this over 8 weeks, and you know what? You got to 0 1 or 2 weeks here, and say you force yourself to do something the next week, and suddenly, by the time you get to 8 weeks, you'll see a transformation because you'll be motivated to change things. All these different forms you can download. Just going to point out the rest. Job opportunities, you can track the interviews, strategies. So you have to think about your strategy for interview and have it evolve. The resumes you send out, because you have to really track every one of those. Your interviewing strategy, so you evolve that as well. And calling strategy, because you know what? There are so many different techniques in calling. you have to run into a lot of roadblocks to begin to think about all the different techniques and to build out your strategy that you will learn from all of that. Wherever you are in that process, let's ramp it up and repeat, repeat, repeat. Now, today we're going to take you into something a little bit more special, as we will for every session this week, and that is how AI is beginning to affect job search and what you can do to use AI to your benefit. Now, that I've said all that, let me just say I think AI can be an incredible trap. It can it can just absorb and vacuum up and magnetically steal all of our time away from us. It can seem like a toy, although it's a very valuable tool. Your job is to use it surgically, efficiently, not let this replace other things that are much, much more effective than other systems are out there. So in terms of job search, today's AI lesson is about using it for research. You can do some incredible, incredible research and have it all right at your fingertips with AI once you practice how to do it just a little bit. But that being said, we need to fact check this. If you haven't read much or used much AI lately or yet, AI can, just like human beings, come up with its own crazy ideas that have no basis in reality or fact. These are called hallucinations. It wouldn't be nice in the real world when we were talking to someone going, oh, you're having a hallucination with that opinion. Don't think that'd go well. But with AI, we have to be aware that it's our job to monitor reality and facts and make sure they're correct. But it can streamline so much manual activity with data and information that we have to be using it. So in this case, what do I want to do? Let's look at an example that I'd love to go work for a nonprofit and foundation. Now, maybe I'm in the nonprofit foundation world, or maybe I'm over in commercial. I'm like, really sucks over here. I'd like to get over into nonprofit foundation. I hear it's nicer over there. Okay. My suggestion for using AI is always to use a singular prompt. This is not a conversation. Yes, you've heard many people say you have to have a deeper conversation with AI so they really get it. And my tune might change in the future. You also have to guard about the information you give AI, which stays with AI forever. So it's a double-edged sword of all those considerations. To get the result that I want, I recommend building out an incredible single question. Well, it's a statement and question, statement of fact, and here's my question. Here's what I'd like you to do. And no matter how extensive that question gets, you just copy the whole thing, pop it in the AI, let it produce its result. Now, in this case, everything from the word list is what I copy and drop directly, in this case, into ChatGPT. That is go to the ChatGPT website, don't sign in, don't click save, and just do it off the open window. And I tell it list the foundations and nonprofits in the New York City greater area by the size of their current endowments. These foundations and nonprofits should not have a revenue function, meaning I don't want one of those nonprofits that has to constantly be beating the drums to go get money. Life is much better if you were in one of the ones that are just sitting on all the money. So I don't want them to have a revenue function. These should be the ones that just give away money. Notice how easily I set it to the AI, just as if I was telling a dear friend. So I want to make sure my dear friend gets it. It's the same background you share before question with the AI. I tell it literally, include information on these organizations' focus areas and the dollar amount to support for each area if it's available. Now, then I want you to take all this information that you're going to put together for me, and I want you to stack rank this list by each organization's perceived brand value. And you might be scratching your head going, what? Why would I want that? Because as you move from organization to organization to organization, the brand value of all those places touches you and travels with you. I have one of my clients who's worked for the publication arm of School of Visual Arts. They've worked for Interior Design Magazine. They've worked for Case Commons social welfare nonprofit. They worked for Columbia University Teachers College Ed Lab, which was their educational think tank software arm for Teachers College, Columbia University. They've worked for the New York Public Library. They've worked for Carnegie Corporation of New York. All these things together is like, wow, So the brand value of what you go after is very, very important. If they're going to put together a list for me, I want them to stack rank it by brand value. So I approach the most impressive brands first. You might go, well, John, don't you want the best run company? Well, good luck figuring that one out. They're almost all a nightmare inside, messed up, meat grinder of reorganization. That's many, many companies in many industries. But the brand value is still there no matter what. The brand value sticks to me, good, better, negative. I want the positive brand value moving forward. So stack rank these and perceived values. And by the way, for the top 15, because I want to get really going, why don't you list out their top 10 executive titles? They won't give you people's names that way because of privacy issues and safeguards they have built in. But my gosh, I can begin to build the profiles. Now, in doing this, the first one, by the way, I can give you some results that I did this because I did this live. I ran through, and actually what I saw was incredibly impressive. I'm like, wow, look at the information here. Right away, because I have enough information about some of those organizations, I could see one of the mistakes. In terms of, say, Carnegie Corporation of New York, it had grabbed the original gift way back in 1910, 1911. I don't know. They grabbed that as the endowment, which was a joke compared to what their current endowment was. That was like 140 million. Their current endowment's like 3.4 billion, whatever it might be, something like that. It's so that you might have those kind of errors or hallucinations that you have to fact check, but you can put together so much information very, very quickly. A little bit of fact checking, this can greatly reduce your job search. This can streamline things dramatically for you. So just think about how you're going to transform this each time and really change things for yourself. Now, this is just the first session this week, supercharging your job search and career. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about resume, and it's the resume renovation session, but I'm going to give you some secrets as to when and how we should use AI, which is really going to involve the cover letter and being able to tie things together. And I'll show you how to do that. That's tomorrow's session. Wednesday is LinkedIn. Please join in for that. A lot of ways to help enhance your LinkedIn profile, even with AI. It's important that you maintain an understanding of who you are as a product, so you don't let yourself become shifted into something you are not, that you then cannot live up to and won't serve you well in your career. Thursday, we're going to do social media marketing, career evolution, all the ways you can now take AI and really juice the message about you across social media. Friday, we are going to do interview intervention, all the ways to win that interview and really control it. And AI will help us in compiling a lot of that information. Tune in all week. Please do like, comment, share wherever you're viewing today. It really does help. These are also all available on replay, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. And if you need help, check out my selfrecruiter.com website. If you look under the career branding, if you need some help with your own materials, and if you need to set up a time to talk before you know which package may be right for you, just send me a quick email. That's john@selfrecruiter.com, and we'll set up a time to talk. Tune in tomorrow at noon Eastern. We'll see you then, and thanks for joining in today. Take care. Bye-bye.